Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Historical Humans Reacts. And on today's episode, we're talking about Italy celebrating the return of 600 antiquities from the United States that's valued at an estimated 60 million euros or about 60 million US dollars.
65 million USD. Yeah, gotta use freedom units.
That were looted years ago and sold to museums, galleries, and collectors, and were finally recovered as a result of a criminal investigation, which is kind of neat. It worked out that Matthew Bogdanos, the head of antiquities in the New York district office and members of Homeland Security, ended up cracking down on effectively an antiquities ring
Yeah,
that they referred to by as Tombaroli Tomb Raiders.
yeah,
Tombaroli.
yeah. Tombarola. Yeah, this is
Tombaroli.
Italian for Tomb Raider. No, my people cannot make anything sound terrifying.
It's a Tombarole!
Yeah.
Oh no.
Anyway, yes. Yeah.
But one
Uh,
of the cool things here is they work to return the stolen artifacts to where they belong, even though they were sold and dispersed to different organizations.
yeah. Yeah. The various sort of Tomb Raiders were more or less doing typical antiquity smuggling thing where you would dig up the earth, rip whatever was valuable out of it, and then either fake or deny provenance, and sell it on a market through either a dealer or just directly to someone who could fake the provenance themselves. Um, this has been a very long-standing practice in the industry, and one which governments have often been very powerless to stop, and even more powerless to reclaim once it has happened. So seeing a 600 artifact haul be repatriated is a very big deal.
It and there's a number of reasons or possibilities as to why this happens. One of the things that they made note of even is that Ukraine is a potential target for art traffickers because of the turmoil because of the conflict. And
Yeah,
a lot of these artifacts may have even been maybe not smuggled in that way, but also illegally looted, which is similar to a silver coin depicting Dionysus that was excavated illegally in Sicily, that was eventually exported to or smuggled into the United Kingdom and then brought to New York. But
yeah.
what's also kind of interesting is the article mentions a statue that we've actually talked about in a different react, the
Yes.
Victorious Youth bronze statue that's at the Getty Museum in Malibu, California.
Yeah, that is not included. It is something that Italy is highly desirous of. It has been more or less proven to have been looted, and the museum simply does not care.
And Homeland Security refuses to comment on it, just saying that it's a part of an ongoing investigation.
Yeah.
But
Now,
oh,
it's like now what has been returned is a veritable like smorgasbord here of various Italian artifacts. We have full-size classical bronzes. We have early Etruscan vases, which is for those who don't know, the civilization in northern and central Italy that predates the Roman Empire, uh, or even just the Kingdom of Rome, way back then.
and the
Uh,
artifacts
our,
here range from the 9th century BC to the 2nd century. Oil paintings from the 16th and 19th century. Things that
yeah,
were stolen from Italian museums, institutions, and private homes in thefts.
yeah. Yeah. A number of the theft, part of why a lot of this is coming back is because a number of the thefts are very well documented. Yeah, fun fact: when you rob a church, the priests know.
Well, not to mention they report to the authoritas who keep a lookout for the for the thing. And the important thing that is highlighted is a lot of these artifacts, it doesn't the law does not distinguish between items taken during the illicit excavations or stolen in thefts. It all is looting regardless of what happens. And it even took place when the United States entered Iraq quite a number of years ago. There were a vast amount of antiquities that were brought out, and Hobby Lobby, the American corporation, was found to be behind millions of dollars worth of smuggled goods.
Yeah.
As the purchaser, they were not the smugglers, but
Yeah.
they were contributing to the problem.
Yeah, and fun fact: most archaeologists do not particularly like Hobby Lobby. For this fact, that they, that they do in fact purchase, stolen art. Now, what's interesting to note and understand is, like, with 600 artifacts and all this talk we've had of, major companies being on the receiving end, churches being robbed, this being a well-known, long-standing practice, you might get a little bit of an impression that this is somehow a major organized front, central criminal empire. It's not. Most looting, as the article will point out, is local. It is done by local people who, they know when the security guards, clock in. They know when they clock out. They know when a legitimate archaeological site might be closed for funding or the winter or any other number of things. These are local people taking advantage of local circumstances to effectively rob their own country to make a quick buck.
And that really highlights just how hyper localized a lot of this is, because it's not these vast criminal empires most of the times. It's the local folks who know what's there. They know something's over this hill, so they go in with shovels, and it's sad to see. I mean, that people are in a condition and at a point where they're profiting off of any number of turmoil or anything.
Even just where, like, your economic condition is so poor that it is more lucrative to risk imprisonment by robbing a grave than it is to have a standard job.
And that's kind of where a lot of this kind of ends too, is one of the best ways we can try and prevent it is by being vigilant about it, by tracking down stolen goods, by trying to eliminate these. And as archaeologists, it requires us to have a certain level of secrecy in terms of the sites. Like certain sites like Pompeii, okay, you know where the location of that is, but every day archaeology sites have to be behind layers of protection because people will go out there with shovels thinking that they can make a quick buck.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a good point for us to wrap up on today's episode. Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoy it, we'll see you in the next one.